Hello, everybody. Richard C. Wilson here at the Family Office Club. Welcome to our show, and I have with me here David Spigner from Boda Borg. He runs the only company in the category of questing, which is a growing area of experiential in-person game playing. So think about something you could do for a corporate event with family, friends, birthday party, etc. We're going to do an interview to dig into this business, his mindset, his background, how he's doing something so unique. And I'm sure there's many people listening. They're trying to grow something that also is new and unique. So I think you'll have some things you can learn from David. There's a history here of only over 30 years in business, 11 locations, over 5 million guests have come through the Boda Borg facilities, and they do over $20 million a year in revenue as a platform. So I want to make sure and point that out because many times people say, I've got this wild new idea, and it's literally an idea that they haven't executed on at all, and it does not have 5 million guests or clients behind it. So I think that's the big thing to point out here at the beginning. But David, welcome. And what else would you want us to know about Boda Borg up front or about yourself and your background a little bit?
Well, I think you said it well. I would emphasize that the 30 years is critical. We are a category creator. It's not a category that many investors are familiar with, but our guests absolutely love us. And we have guest inquiries from more than 40 countries. So it's pretty phenomenal. It's one of those, whether you call it white space or blue space categories, that actually has a tremendous amount of history and data behind it. So that's what I would emphasize going in.
Sure. Interesting. And, what's kind of your background? Is this your first experience in business? What's kind of like your education? Where are you from, et cetera?
So education-wise, I'm a graduate of 2 Ivy League schools, for what that's worth. University of Pennsylvania, mechanical engineering, graduated, I think, 13th in my class from there when that happened. And I am a graduate of the Harvard Business School as well. Spent many years, I'd say 3 decades now, in business consulting with global 300 size companies, largely in strategy and operations. I'm pretty decent at strategy, I would say. I've worked all over the globe in strategy and finding the white space, blue space, and exploiting it and building. So this venture just happens to be my own versus doing it for someone else.
Got it. Yeah. I think that Dan Kennedy says, if you don't know what to do the opposite of everybody else. Peter Thiel says, start with a small niche, monopolize that, grow in concentric circles. And then many people know about the book called The Blue Ocean Strategy. All those things are related to kind of what you're doing. Quick question on the Ivy League schools. Have you found that what you learned there and the perception from investors that gives you amazing momentum? Or is most of the value the network you got through the alumni and the friends you made while at the school? Just curious on your feedback on that.
So I find my experience at both Penn and Harvard absolutely invaluable on campus, in the classroom, and outside of the classroom. I wouldn't trade it for the world. I'd probably pay more for it, in fact. Not that the alumni network is amazing. Don't get me wrong. It's phenomenal.
Sure. Okay, great.
Yeah.
That's great feedback. Okay, and then Boda Borg does questing. Can you explain in the clearest way possible what is questing, since this whole interview is about doing something unique that not everyone's doing? By very definition, that means you have to educate people on what it is you're doing that's not elsewhere found.
So I think people actually know what questing is. They just haven't thought of it in the way that we deliver it, because every day in life for you, me, and everyone on this planet is a quest. It's a series of actions or activities that we do every day. We just hope that when we leave our home, we come home safely. But everything we do is a quest. You never know what's going to happen along the way. And know movies like, what is it? The movie with Nicolas Cage, National Treasure, that one.
Oh, right? Yeah.
Where they're on the quest, or the Indiana Jones movies, or the James Bond movies, or anything like this. So questing is really equivalent of taking, metaphorically speaking, the scenes from a movie or levels of a video game or chapters of a book and actually making it real. So real life-like atmospheres, real life-like games, real life-like adventures. Some people say, oh, therefore you must be virtual reality. I say, no, we're actually real. We're sort of juxtaposed to it. We actually build real life-like sets. We're a high-tech company that puts the tech in the sets. So our whole strategic evolution is ever more and more real sense. And the team of people that even a team of all try to conquer our lifelike journeys that we call quest. So it's levels, a series of challenges.
Yeah, interesting. I mean, one thing I've noticed is that, I played a lot of video games in college. I still play some video games sometimes. And what I've noticed is that just in the last 3 to 5 years, people such as Lex Friedman and the CEO of DeepMind, is literally running one of the top three most powerful AI companies in the world, talk about gaming, talk about playing video games. It's not like seen as like this childish little weird niche thing that 12-year-olds only do. Although you probably do find yourselves playing with 12-year-olds sometimes on accident, because kids like it too. And I think that what's interesting about your platform is that it's gaming, it's using technology, but you're not sitting in a room by yourself staring at a screen. Like the whole nature of what you're doing is also experiential, in person. If you want to get kids off the screen or get your family to bond over something that does use technology and you're not staring at an iPad or a movie or have a video game controller in your hand for 4 hours at a time, it seems like that's kind of the niche that you're filling, right?
Yeah, and by the way, we are very familiar with the people at DeepMind, Demis Hassabis and the team that we know a lot about. We stay on top of that because we are a high-tech company, because the technology is not wearable for us, because it's real. By the way, there are a lot of myths about what we do. People will often say, well, you must be like an escape room. Well, we were actually created 12 years before escape rooms in 95. Escape rooms didn't happen until 2007 in Japan. We did this in Sweden back in 1995 with questing. Now, escape rooms are a component of what we do. If you take one of our things out, one of our challenges, one of our levels, let's say, and make one room out of it and lock people in it for an hour, that's an escape room. We don't do that, but that's an escape room. Another myth is it must be for kids because you say it's gaming. Well, there really are journeys, adventures, but yeah, we can do gaming as well as we do. But 60% plus of our guests are adults.
Wow. Awesome.
And then also another myth is that, it must be male-centric if it's gaming. Well, no, over 60% of our guests are actually female.
Wow. Interesting. I don't know if you have stats on it, but how much is birthday party or corporate events versus more ad hoc social things that are just put together on the fly?
So birthday parties are obviously youth-centric. Again, something only like 35 to 40% of our guests are youth. So we're not very birthday party heavy, frankly.
Yeah.
But we are very much corporate event heavy, team building heavy. You can rent our facilities on an exclusive basis. We have 11 locations right now across 5 countries, as you stated. So you can rent it on an exclusive basis. So we can utilize our real estate Monday through Friday in amazing ways with corporate events, colleges. Google has been to our Boston location more than 100 times now, for example.
Wow.
And I can go on and on naming companies. I won't do that here, but utilize it very well with corporate events and specialty groups. We've had, 2-3 busloads of church ladies, for example.
Yeah.
Literally, this has literally happened across the world of Boda Borg. It happens all the time. You just never know. So try to book it.
Yeah, that's funny. Cutthroat gamers probably there. How did you create this in the first place? Like, was this inspired by combining 2 or 3 ideas? Like sometimes the best creative ideas take something from 2 different disparate fields and combine them, right? And so how did you come up with this? How did it kind of evolve and get created in the first place?
So I can't take the credit for coming up with it. I told you I spent my executive career working for others, finding that white space, that blue space, working it, building it, growing value with it for them. I found this in a similar way. I was on vacation. I was in Sweden. This was developed in Sweden back in the mid 1990s. I happened to be in Sweden on holiday in 2007. Ran into this totally serendipitously. It just was sheer accident. Sure. And the truth is, Richard, I wasn't happy about that, what I was experiencing that day. I didn't, well, we can get into that later. There's a whole podcast, that whole experience of how we found Boda Borg. But it was invented by a couple of people who had lost their jobs back in the mid 1990s. And their simple concept was this: what if we could make video games real? That was it.
Right.
That was it. And it was as simple as that. And then they bought two giant buildings and started integrating technologies. And the first products were built. These like a movie. It's like designing a movie or
Sure.
designing a video game. And they did that, and it was a town called Tarp Summer. It's still there. Our first location is still there. And that town has, and I'm not kidding, it has maybe 5,000 cows and 7,000 people in it. It's that remote. It's gorgeous. One of the most beautiful places I've ever seen. But it is just desolate. There's nothing there.
Sure.
And 28,000 guests visit that Boda Borg location that first year. And the king and queen of Sweden flew in, landed, and quested on a helicopter.
Wow.
That's how popular it was.
Wow. Yeah, that's amazing. I mean, the growth of gaming in general since, we were kids is enormous, right? I mean, I think that, hundreds of billions of dollars, goes on with gaming. It became bigger than the movie industry not too long ago. And, if you listen to experts out there in the space, there's no slowing down of it because of all of the real world things that can now be done with AI. I'm just curious, like, with all the technological changes you're seeing, is that impacting how you're rolling out your next locations of Boda Borg? I mean, is there ways to either use AI or customize the experience? Or I know that one of your expansion areas is into California next, and there's obviously a big high-tech culture there, obviously in some of those cities. I would imagine those people, they would lend themselves to wanting to go to a real life video game type location. So I'm just kind of curious, like, how AI and tech change is impacting how you're rolling out kind of the next phase of what you're doing.
So I think technology in general, I know, because that's what we do. Technology in general is a critical component of not only our present, but our future as we evolve Boda Borg. We have a clear end game in mind. I don't know that we'll get there in my lifetime, because I don't know if you're a Trekkie, but anybody who's a Trekkie, a Star Trek person, knows the concept of the holodeck, right? Have you ever heard of that, Richard, at all?
Oh, yeah. Where you just like order a milkshake and it just creates it inside of a little, vaporizer thing, or you enter the virtual room and then all around you it creates this environment in the forest or something, and you're
Two different things there. Two different things.
Okay.
The first thing you described is a replicator.
Replicator. Okay.
The second one is the holodeck, where, if you want to go skiing down the Alps and you're on a spaceship out there, you can program the computer. And basically the concept is, it assumes we humans have mastered E equal MC squared relativity, and we can convert energy to mass and do whatever we want with it. We cannot do that today. But you can see that as an end game maybe 50 or 100 years from now when I'm no longer here. So technology plays a huge role. AI, we think, also plays a huge role, and will play an even deeper role for us, because we can use it to help make our designs more efficient, not the design itself necessarily, but how we operate, how we run. If I want to introduce certain smells and have them dissipate faster, or utilize water, or give the perception of an expanded space, whatever, we can use AI to help us determine how to do those things in far more effective and efficient ways. And we can use it for basic management of the company. And so that's what we have in mind currently.
Sure. Makes sense. What's kind of the number one thing you've learned for listeners out there who are also growing a platform that's very unique, or they're an investor and they add value in unique ways to companies like yours? What's kind of the category leader insight you've learned just by not looking like everyone else? It comes with challenges. Everyone says you should do that. It's a very smart thing to do it, but then you have the challenge of nobody instantly sometimes getting 100% what you're doing, right?
So we've learned that there's a difference between investor perception and guest perceptions, because investors often, as you know, we teach this, and I'm actually a fan of it for the most part. Stick to the knitting, whatever your focus, your niche is, stick to that. So sometimes it's difficult to get people to put on a different set of lenses and say, you know what, I know this is not in my niche. It can add value to me, my family, maybe humanity. And God, by the way, it makes a ton of money too. Let's take a look at it. So one of the things we tell people is, and I tell people this from my, again, 3+ decades in doing this for other people, hey, I only look at them if there's a data trail. If there's a history that makes sense, and it's showing me that this is successful and everybody else has ignored it, then take a look at that. The other thing, we get it. So that's one thing that we have certainly learned. And we've also learned, stick to it. If it works, stick to it. It will eventually come along. I mean, there's so
Right.
many things in life that we are fortunate enough to have that we wouldn't have had if someone didn't stick to it because the rest of the world wasn't looking at it closely. Like,
Right.
believe it or not, I don't know if you know this, CPR is one of them. Almost didn't exist.
Really.
The studies existed that said
Right.
we actually don't just breathe out carbon dioxide, we breathe out oxygen. But the medical community was having none of it. It was a
Wow.
man named Peter Safar, an Austrian, who came to America and said, let me take a look at that study, and invested his own money.
Yeah.
And now we have CPR that saves millions of lives. The same thing with the whole paramedic industry would not have existed if it weren't for one person who
Wow.
So stick to it if it works. And
Yeah.
what do you know about Boda Borg? It works. We make money.
Right. Right. I mean, I guess the one key things is like it's better to have a business with you know, the customer loving it and coming back and being hungry for more is more important than having a powerful board or a slick brand, or if you have to choose one or the other, it's that data trail you're really looking for. Like, do people ever come back? Do people talk about it? Was it an experience that blew them away, so they post something on social media about it, etc.? I think you and I look for similar things. Like, we're both drawn to something that's unique, because when you're a consultant or running a club and you see hundreds or thousands of ideas, you start to get a little bit of a sixth sense of like, if this idea is boring me because I've seen it 400 times before, how likely is it going to succeed in the market? Because it's commoditized, right? And usually commoditized things don't work that well. But what's kind of like a point of confusion, or maybe something that's counterintuitive, or like when you meet with someone and explain what your platform does, what you're up to, is there something that we haven't covered yet that maybe is not obvious to somebody looking in from the outside that you'd like to clarify or make sure is clear?
I think close to 90+% of the time, if I say to someone that we are reality gaming, because that's our business space, real people inside trying to conquer real lifelike games, reality, real, about 90% of the time, the immediate comeback will be, oh, you're virtual. or you're an escape room, one of those two. So we are looking for ways to make that clear. But again, we're unfamiliar. We're a category creator. So that whole concept of taking something off of a screen, getting rid of wearable tech, and making real life environments is a bit beyond people at first. Unless you become a guest and you go, whoa, look at that. And now you go home and talk. So that word of mouth is a massive thing for us. That's what brings people back. That's what makes our repeat guest rate often in the 40+% range.
Right. Got it. So you have 11 locations now. You're looking to open a couple of, or a handful of locations in California. What's the game plan for California, and what's kind of the medium term game plan for after California is done? What's the next expansion area, or what's kind of your vision medium term?
So I'm going to start with the macro level, which is not our immediate focus, but the macro level is somewhere in the neighborhood of 500-600 locations globally. We are a global firm, and we are very proud of that. My background is an international background. I've lived in Asia and England and other places, and I built my career internationally. So I'm a big international person. I don't have a bone of xenophobia in me. So that's kind of cool. But California, not just California, North America as a whole is a primary target for us now. We'd like to expand across this country, and we are looking for a partner who can understand what we're trying to do, see the value in it, and help us do that. California itself is a great place because it's very visible, right? I'm in the middle of a fishbowl here. So, and I live here. Some of my partners live here. So we would put maybe 3 to 6 locations here just in Southern California, do something different in Northern. But there are all kinds of places across the US and in Canada that we can work on, and we are eager to do that. We've got current projects happening right now, about to get started in Berlin, another one in the south of Sweden, a town called Malmö that borders Copenhagen, Denmark, down there. So we're not afraid to go global. We can make money anywhere, and we're happy to do it.
Cool. Okay. And then, In-N-Out Burger is famous for, I believe, not franchising and having everything ran by their central headquarters, while McDonald's is famous for franchising. McDonald's also tries to basically compete with the Roman Catholic Church on owning a lot of real estate. I'm just curious on your take on all that, right? Because are Are you right now getting momentum? And then if a master franchisee or opportunity or two, comes to you and it makes sense, you'll take that path when it comes? Or are you going full franchise route? And then are you buying the real estate under the facilities? I think like some investors might ask you that question when they meet in person.
Those are great questions. So we are moving towards company-owned locations. They're just much more profitable, frankly, and we can
Sure.
control how we deliver the product a lot
Right.
better that way. And it makes more sense, frankly. If I put staff, which we do, we have to take care of 11 locations today. They're all franchised today, every one of them today. We've had to grow that way up until now. And we've got some great people running them, but there are situations that you might imagine, where a franchisee might want to try to do something different. I mean, just look at that movie, The Founder, on Ray Kroc. I think it stars Michael Keaton in that movie.
It's amazing.
Did you see that movie? Some of the things
I love that movie.
franchisees tried to do, and I'm looking at that going, oh my God, I know what this is.
Yeah, for sure.
So we can literally make 4 to 5 times the money doing the exact same thing if we run it ourselves. And we don't have to worry about what we call drift. You had asked earlier what some of the biggest issues are. Drift is one of them. Drifting away from what we know works. We want to always evolve what works. And we don't want to drift towards commoditization. And that's something that does happen. The investor community especially will say, smaller locations, fewer requests, this, and this. We've tried much of that. We know it doesn't work, but there's a whole evolutionary path ahead of us that we are eager to explore. So we avoid drift like the plague.
Totally. Makes sense. And for most CEOs that I talk to, such as yourself, primary vision, primary ROI is growing the model. And if you get to 500 locations, you'll do amazingly well, whether you own the real estate underneath it or not. So most CEOs that I ask a question to about owning the real estate underneath, they say, well, when it's an option, we'd love to, especially if it's a location you're very confident in. But you don't want that to get in the way of scaling up, because at the end of the day, you'll be valued based on your business more than the real estate assets upon any potential future exit or financing, at least in the short term. But how do you view owning the real estate under your locations?
Yeah, I didn't answer that question clearly before. I should have. So real estate is an important component of what we do. Today, we deliver things in reality. It's physical. It's real.
Sure.
And so where we put the real estate, how we consider the placement of our locations, all that's critical. But real estate itself has to be owned by someone. Today, we lease that real estate. I can see a future where we either own it or we're working with a real estate partner who owns it and works with us, and they're benefiting from our growth. And frankly, Richard, the growth of reality gaming. I just like automobile malls do, I could see a future where I sort of collect different reality gaming operations, not just ours, and put them side by side. And I think it would make a phenomenal offering to people in various markets across the world. And somebody's going to own that real estate, and we'd be happy to begin working with someone towards agenda like that.
Sure. Got it. If you reflect back on, 100 cups of coffee or meetings or Zooms you've had with partners, investors, franchisees, et cetera, where you sat down, explained the model, made sure you kind of had a meeting of minds of kind of what Boda Borg's all about, what questioning is. Are there any things that you always have on a checklist of things you want to cover in such a meeting that you'd want to cover here in this interview, like an important point, something unusual, something exciting, something that you wanted to fit in before the interview is over here today?
I would say don't be afraid of the exceptions like us. Take a look, especially if there's a data history, a history of success and growth and opportunity. Go forward. I would also say to them, hey, consider what's happening in the world today. AI is certainly going to change 30 years from now, how we humans interact as humans even. And one of the things that we do is provide a platform where we can keep humans human, because there are no phones or anything at Boda Borg. You're always going to be human. That's one of the things. The other thing I'd say is, I know this is unfamiliar, but it's kind of like the movie industry was when it first got started. People were afraid of movie images on a wall, but look at it today. So we are still before that inflection point where people, the larger community really knows what questing is. It's true, we're dependent on word of mouth, but it works wonders for us. Eventually, we'll transition to where a lot of traditional marketing, paid marketing, will drive more and more people to it because they know now what questing is and what Boda Borg is. But right now, one of my locations, Richard, I can do 6 to 8 million. One of my core locations, the modern ones, I can do 6 to 8 million a year on 25% net profit after tax, 35% EBITDA. That's
Yeah. Yeah. That's exciting. Yeah. What is what's the best way for someone to take a look at, either where the locations are, what you do, et cetera? I know your website, bodaborg.com, it's BODA. So BOD as in dad, AB as in boy, ORG.com. So people can look there, I know. Is there anywhere else you want people to look online for information about your platform, or do you want to provide your email or phone number if anybody has a way to joint venture on the real estate side or would like to, work with you in some way on this?
Yeah, so Boda Borg, I appreciate that you spelled it BODABORG, 2 words. So it's an alliteration and it works for us. People remember that very well. It simply means, people ask that question too, it means Boda is a small town in Sweden. Borg means castle in Swedish. So that's what it means. It was a castle near a small town. That was where the first location was.
It also sounds like a species from another planet from a Star Trek episode, which I like. So
the Borg.
Yeah, exactly. It reminds me of the
aliens that absorb you and make you a part of their collective. That's the
so, exactly. But I'll let you keep going. Sorry.
Yeah, so I'm at david.spigner, SP as in Paul, IGNER at bodaborg.com. You can always contact me there if you're watching this video and you want to phone me. Careful with that because a lot of the phone messages look like spam and we may not respond to them. So a text or email might work best first to identify yourself. But it's 949-230-1166 in the U.S. market. We have a lot of international numbers. So I do need to point out that's a U.S. number.
Got it. Great. I appreciate you seeing you here and seeing you at our Investor Club event last week. And I look forward to seeing you at our Investor Summit coming up in 3 weeks. And if anyone's a member of Family Office Club and they need help getting in touch with David, you want me to connect you over email, happy to do so, of course. Thank you for joining us here, David, and I appreciate you being part of the community.
I really appreciate you having me. Thank you so much.
If you are a founder, raising capital, developing real estate, or you're an investor, would love for you to get involved in the Family Office Club. I've run this community for 18 years now. We've hosted 300 live events. We have 17 million social media group members and followers. We have the #1 YouTube channel on family offices. We have the #1 most popular podcast on family offices. You can learn more about us and our membership options at familyoffices.com. We have 30 in-person events planned in 2026 and another dozen events this year. Please go to familyoffices.com to learn more.